In this video we will build a pillar and roof blend surface. So this is where we left off, and we will begin by rebuilding the projected curves. So this one, and we'll select curve fit. I just used query edit, and here you need to take curve fit, then up to degree 3. And now we get a smaller deviation. So we now want to build our surface, so we'll use our generation curves and then rail curves, and there it is. So I'll switch off explicit control, and if I put the highlights on, you can see it's looking pretty good. On generation 2 you want to select implied tangent, and that will get us a smoother transition along the edge if we want to build tangent continuity on the roof blend. So now we will do the same with the second curve. We'll select curve fit, and then you want to pay attention to this number, to the deviation. So right now it's 1.1499, and if I up the degree to 3, well, actually this time it went up, so we got bigger deviation, but usually it should be smaller. So right now we'll just go with this. So we'll build our surface, so select an edge, then select the curve, and here I want to show you something. If I'll select curve first, and then the other curve, and if I switch off explicit control and put the locator on this edge, you'll see that we don't have positional continuity. And so even if I'll change the degree with explicit control right here, and I use degree 2, it looks like these points are touching, but in reality there is a small deviation, and the reason for that is right here. So if I query edit this, you see that it says position failed, and that is because of this tangency right here. So in order to get positional continuity here, we need to, when we're building our surface, we need to select an edge, otherwise it will not build it close enough to the surface. So I'll just delete this example quickly, and now we'll build it again. So we'll select an edge, because we want tangency, and then a curve, and then we're selecting an edge again, and then a curve. So there's our roof blend, and you can already see that we have positional continuity. Right, so now we will trim this surface, and we'll use these curves to trim the surface in Y vector, and you need to select your trim region. So we want this part, and enter. So there we have it. There's our model, and as you can see we have a small gap right here. So if I check the boundaries with locators, you can see that we didn't achieve positional continuity. But an easy way to fix this is to change the degree to degree 5, and that should fix it. So if you go up to degree 5, well, actually in this case it didn't give us positional continuity, but in my design I built these surfaces in the same way as I'm showing you now. So if I'll put the CVs on, if I'll turn them on, you'll see that if I put a locator here, we don't have continuity. But now if I up the degree to 5, then we do have positional continuity, and the same can be done with roof blend. So if you up it to degree 5, you will get green locator. There we go. So this is one way to prepare your model for milling or simply to close your model. But most of the time you don't want to do this. You want to keep your surfaces light, so that means degree 2 or 3. Now I'll show you another way to approach this. So I now opened the model that we are working on, and I'm using align with project in Y vector, and I'm aligning it to our side glass. And now when I used degree 5, you can see that I achieved positional continuity. So this is another way to close the model. The disadvantage of this is that you'll lose the history, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the process. So this doesn't seem to work, but you get the idea, you understand how that could work. So that would be the second approach, and I'll show you a third way to do this. So I'll just quickly delete curves and surfaces, and I will now extend an edge of the roof blend with extend and merge on, and I'll do the same with A-pillar. And if I put the shader on, you can see that these surfaces can now be trimmed. So if I quickly intersect them with one another, it will create curves and surfaces. And now we can select the trim region and trim all of them. So A-pillar, roof blend, and if I check it with the locator now, you see that we achieved positional continuity. So there is the 3 ways on how you can close the model, how to deal with this side glass. But just keep in mind that most of the time you want to keep your surfaces as degree 3, you don't want to go above that.